Hello and welcome. Libby Templeton here with Faithful Hands Creations. Happy Advent. I continue to be thankful for you, that you're making time out for yourselves, and that you're joining me on this journey. Before we hop over to start working on the ornament, I'm going to give you a quick flyby of the Jessie tree with the addition of the second day ornament that I made with you yesterday. And then we will have the reading and the meditation, this one focused on the fall. So again, thank you. I am so glad you're here. And without further ado, let's move on into it. Today is day 3 on our Advent journey, and it's all about the fall. The theme is brokenness and redemption. So the reading is from Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. You are dust, and to dust you shall return. And the meditation I have for you today is to acknowledge the reality of human frailty and the consequences of sin. Yet even in the fall, glimpse the promise of redemption. God's plan to restore and reconcile begins to unfold now. Okay, so I'm going to move that out of the way a little bit. And let's get started. So again, I have my little 2-inch circle, and I've got this image. That serpent and the apple that we're so familiar with. And one would wonder, why is it that I hate snakes? Anyway. So I don't have very many colors with me today because this just feels, I think about you're from dust, and to dust you shall return, and being removed from the garden. And so what does that all look like and mean to me? And what would maybe I have been thinking about at that time? There I had been living in this perfect, beautiful, colorful, joyous place with beauty and abundance I can't even fathom. And now I'm out and lost, maybe. Anyway, so I just, I do still have all my colorful pieces. I've got this gold, which I might use. I also just found this piece of, paper that I was playing around with. And as I grabbed this, thinking that this kind of reminds me of ashes and so forth, and I'm going to incorporate that, I thought, there are a lot of you that maybe you don't have papers, and so what could you use? So you could definitely, like I mentioned on the first day, use some things, magazine pages, mailers. This little piece of paper here, I just got an Amazon package today, and I tore this off of that. So just be creative. You can come up with anything and it will work. So I think I'm gonna just take a little bit of this just for the fun of it. Again, I have my handy dandy trusty purple glue stick here. Just tearing paper off side here. I'm sure you can hear it. Okay, so let's see. I like the rough edges. You know, I would definitely pay a little bit more attention to composition if a lot of this ornament was going to be seen, but because it's back behind several different things, you really don't see much there. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of this because it's gold and it sort of is making me think of the hope of God's light. We used this for some light yesterday in the sky and so forth, so I think I'm going to keep that there for me for that. And then this actually is upside down. This is actually, you can see right here, yeah, I can't point with my finger, I'll cover it up, that 19. This is actually the 19th verse in Genesis in chapter 3 in Hebrew. So kind of like our first day where we used Genesis on there, I sort of thought this one, it seemed like it would fit on the ornament, and I thought it seemed perfect to add to it, so I am. To me, on this reading, it is a difficult one, I think, and it seems like, where do you see the hope in it? But I think it's also a perfect example of how you shouldn't always just take one thing that you read. Sometimes you have to read a little bit before and a little bit after to get the whole message. One line of scripture, one verse, one word isn't intended to be the whole message for us. And so, if we read further on in this chapter 3, when you get to verse 22, God's talking and says, you know, they now know the difference between good and evil, which we didn't ever intend for them to have. And they've sinned. This is a very unhappy place for them to be. And you know what? They didn't listen to our instruction to don't eat from that fruit. So what makes us think that they're going to listen and not eat from the tree of life that's in there? So the full banishment of us, you know, he says that we would have to live forever in this life of sin if we ate from that tree of life. And so what a gracious blessing for us that we are able to die and go back and be with him and not live forever in this sinful world. It is a blessing, and it is something of hope, though it's hard to understand and realize sometimes. So I'm an abstract person and not a real person, so I'm just going to draw some red circles. These are going to be my little apples. I'm just going to kind of put some willy-nilly around the outside edge here just to remind us of why on earth we're here in the first place in this position. Okay. Now, oh look, this one has a great start on its peel. Okay, and again, we're going to use matte medium. So I did decide, you know, yesterday I told you a little bit about the Jessie tree and gave you some of that history. And I thought that was fun to share with you. So now I have come up with a list of a whole bunch of did you know kinds of things. And I'm going to share at least one of those with you each day for a while anyway. And let's see how that goes. So my first did you know is, did you know that Jessie trees were originally made of precious metals like gold and silver? Kind of amazing, isn't it? And medieval Bibles and other examples glittered on the pages of handwritten, illuminated documents. Okay, so at least that snake gets to take a little bit of a back seat there. So I'm going to, you know what I just did? I forgot what I said I was going to do yesterday. I like writing on the back of this first before I glue that image on the front so that it's not all wet and sticky. So probably what I'm going to do today is, I'll just go ahead and write it. We can do it. Nothing's perfect, right? Okay, where's the top? Leave room for my hole there. Add day 3, the fall. And I'm gonna put something here from the meditation that's the good news for us. God's plan to restore and reconcile us begins to unfold. And there you go. Another finished ornament. Thank you again for spending this time with me. I hope you're enjoying these, and if you are, I really encourage you and would so appreciate it if you would click the subscribe either at the bottom corner of the screen, that there's a little button, or down near the description. And I will again link information about where I got these images and other information for you in the description. And I pray for peace to be with you as we continue on this journey.